My dad and I have started the ultimate challenge in Scotland, as we become the managers of Queen of the South and Alloa Athletic in the 3rd tier. The goal? Well, that's to be the first to win the Scottish Premier League and claim ultimate bragging rights, which could be quite tricky with Celtic and Rangers knocking around still. However, after 10 seasons in, we are finally closing in on the big two and came very close to completing the challenge. Well, actually, it's more of that my Queen of the South side is close, as Dad has really struggled and dropped off in recent seasons. But he is learning, as selling players recently has helped him, and actually he has money now to spend. He just needs to make sure he's bringing in the right players with that money, and of course, having the correct system. As he's still got a lot of catching up to do if he's to get anywhere close to where I am as we race towards the Scottish Prem. He starts off with a very smart move of offering his best player, Carlos Alberto, a new contract to try and get rid of that low minimum fee release clause, and has to settle for one that is a tad higher around the £7 million mark. My scouts are at it again though, finding a fantastic centre-back from Chile with a £2.3 million release clause that I'm absolutely going to activate. Dad's scouts are also finding some quality players as well, as this winger is there on the free transfer market, which of course will change his narrow system. Yet again, my scouts are doing me proud, finding a Japanese striker this time that I can bring in to my Queen of the South side, which I was confident in doing so because I've just sold Callum Marshall for £8.75 million, which is a striker that was just a rotational option for me. I'm also bringing in free transfers, with Floyd Samba coming in as a midfield option for me, as well as signing another defensive midfielder from Belgium as a ball winner type for £2 million. This season got underway though, and I have a lot of games to play, as there were Champions League qualifiers for myself to win. The first qualifying round, we overcome Lawson Sport 2-1 on aggregate and settle for a 0-0 in the second leg. The next qualifier we had though was the daunting task of going to Istanbul to play Galatasaray. However, we came out of that with a 2-1 advantage again. Although we did have an opportunity from the spot to make it 3-1, but Hernan Rocha missed a penalty. Thankfully for us, it didn't matter, as we won the second leg 3-1, and he actually scored a second goal of the game in this one instead. Dad had started the season reasonably well, winning his first 2 games using a new system, leaning into a 4-2-2 with a narrow slot for Carlos Alberto. However, his 3rd game was unfortunately against my Queen of the South side, and I was picking up the 3 points. Deadline day closed in, and we were both still trying to make transfers happen and bring in new talent over the line. Alright, Dad, you're slowly strengthening your side.
Yep.
Free transfers coming in that are better than the free transfers
I
you
think
were getting
these are
previously.
Yeah, I think these are definitely better. Definitely strengthened the side. So I've got a striker, right back, and a winger in. So
yeah, he's a really good winger as well.
So hopefully that'll sort of make it a little bit better for me.
Yeah. Tactically, you have changed things around.
Yes. Well, we talked about Carlos Alberto, didn't we? He was probably my best player. So I got him in the position. I was in and out of a bit of play free up front, but getting the winger in decided me to sort of go for a winger as well.
Right.
So
Okay.
I changed it from 3 up front to playing the winger.
Yeah, and also, of course, the really important transfer of locking him in for a higher release clause of 6.75 so that I wouldn't activate it. Because I was tempted. Imagine if I did. That would be complete shit house free. Right, anyway, now I did sign a couple of players myself. Of course, I had a bit of budget left over. Then I decided to sell Callum Marshall to Leeds for a really good price. So obviously, I lost Sano as well for £14 million in January. So even though they're not giving me any more money, I'm still able to generate enough to that I can actually spend money. So Callum Marshall going for £8 million, Bob Mackie also going for nearly £1 million, and then Max Cameron also leaving, was enough for me to spend a good amount, to be honest, but not too much to go silly with it. So I replaced Sano with this man here from Chile, so a decent centre-back. Don't think he's as good as Sano, but still decent.
Yeah, good,
especially for the league.
Yeah.
And for a good price as well of only £2.3 million. Ledwaba for just a cheap price, but again, it's one of those players that I think, all right, bring him in now, get a bit more money from him later on. Then we got Maruhashi, who I think is actually a really good signing, £2 million, cracking little striker that is, left-footed as well. Couple of more, Bourgeois, who I decided to bring in for that centre defensive midfielder, same as Samba really. There's a couple in there. Cudsworth, left back, and then finally we've got Regic, who was a deadline day. We both like trying to sign players on deadline day here. Picked him up, good midfielder on deadline day. Now, I've kept the same tactic as what I did last season because I had a really good season. I'm not going to lock anyone in this year though. Not going to lock anyone, because obviously last year I locked in Rust. I don't know whether it would be a mistake, but before we've got to this point, it hasn't been. They've both been doing quite well. Offord's got 9 and Rust has got 5. We've gone a little bit further, got a bit carried away. We've actually gone to the end of September here. We have already played each other in August, and I beat you 3-1. I have also qualified for the champion. I don't know how, but I've qualified for the Champions League.
Yeah, well done.
Knocked out Larsen Sport and Galatasaray along the way. I went to hell and won 2-1. Beating 3-1 when they came to Dumfries. So really strong start to the season. And you're actually in a similar situation, Dad, whereas you've drawn a lot of games.
Yes. Bit disappointed with that, but I suppose a point's a point, isn't it? So it's better than a no point. So I'll take it, but I'm going the right way. That's what I'm looking at.
You're going further up the table rather than down the bottom. I think you're going to be easily safe. You might even creep into that top half.
That's what I'm hoping. Get into there and then stay in there. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Well, that's the plan. My plan is to get in between or above both Rangers and Celtic. Of course, Europe isn't a deciding factor in the challenge, but it's just nice to be involved and maybe cause a massive upset every now and then, which Newcastle found all about as we beat them 5-0 in the league phase of the Champions League. It's just a shame we couldn't qualify, however, after only winning 2 of the games and losing the other 6. We crossed paths with Dad again in the pouring rain of November and pulled off a 1-0 win. However, Dad's Alloa side wasn't failing like previous seasons, and the next time we clashed in February, he was picking up the 3 points. And as we approach the back end of the season, here he is behind me in 4th place, albeit 19 points behind. He even managed to get in the top half of the split, and he beat me again 2-1 in Alloa. And there they are in 5th place and qualifying for Europe next season, far better than last season's efforts. Although we were disappointed with our league season, we can celebrate still though, because we lifted the Scottish FA Cup, beating Celtic on penalties. Well, fair play, Dad. You got into Europe next season.
5th. Hey. Easily as well, 5th as well. I'll take that.
Nice. I mean, I think the fact that obviously we're playing in Scotland, which means they're probably doing better in Europe. We're getting more spaces in Europe now. Yeah. So I've got Europa League football next year. I'm 10 points behind Celtic, which I am disappointed with because Rangers have somehow leapfrogged both of us and become champions.
Yeah.
That is quite annoying when you consider last season I was 4 points ahead of Rangers and only just behind Celtic. I have dropped off a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed. Maybe that last season was kind of like just a cracking season for me. Rangers have got the likes of Rasmus Højlund. So they've got some cracking players in the league.
That's why, isn't it? When they get players they're getting.
But you've got Charles Akinratario.
Hey, 19 league goal scorer in the league.
Yeah, highest top goal scorer in the league there for you. Kieran Offord only got 12. So where's my guy?
Yeah.
He was scoring so many last season.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's not there anymore. So that might be a problem for me. But anyway, outside of that, though, we've got to check it out. We finally won a trophy. Finally won a trophy. Scottish Cup. I mean, it doesn't count towards what we're doing. It's just a nice thing to happen.
Yeah. It took us a long time to do it.
It took us so long,
yeah.
I can't believe it. I mean, this is year 13, something like that? But here we go. Scottish Cup, we've won it. Not 13. About year 10 we are in. Scottish Cup, penalty wins over Celtic. That's the good cup as well.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to win. That's basically Scottish FA Cup. So a solid season, knocked down the league phase of the Champions League. But I'll tell you what, I had a good time. Because I did beat Newcastle United 5-0. So...
Where did they finish? 5th?
They finished 5th. I was the only one they beat them. They came to Dumfries and they got absolutely panned. They were drawing 0-0 to Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. And there I am, beating them 5-0.
That's some result, isn't it?
Crazy stuff, isn't it? I mean, I won 2 games. I also beat Sassuolo and then lost 6. But there we go. I had a good time in Europe. You'll also be in Europe hopefully next season if you qualify. Overall, it's been a good season for both of us. Just not in the league. 21 goals for Kieran Offord, 16 there for Maruhashi, who has picked up a bit of an injury. He's come off the bench quite a lot. Fabian Rust, very disappointing season this year compared to last, where he got 23 last year. In the same system, he only got 10. Don't know what's going on there.
That's what's got sugar, isn't it?
Yeah. Transfer budget, I've got £6 million, but I did have a bit left over, really. Don't think I lost anybody in the window. I didn't in the January window this time round. But let's have a look at what you are rocking with, Dad. Going into this season, 23 goals from your striker there. Carlos Alberto, again, had a great year. So, solid pickup as well from the winger.
Yeah.
9 goals, 13 assists. Really good. Your transfer budget, though, not a lot there.
That's bad news, isn't it?
Again, though, it might be a case of just got to sell a player. Bite the bullet, sell a player. That's just what you got to do in this league.
I'm in that top half now, so I've got to do something, haven't I? So, yeah, I'm ready to do it.
Yeah. You've got yourself into Europe. Get yourself qualified.
It's a big season for me with being in Europe. I've got to do something, so, yeah. I might have to sell him. Well, one of them.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, let's see what we crack on with during the summer. Immediately, a huge bid comes in for Dad's winger. He signed on a free transfer last year for £10 million and he's accepting it, which seems to be a really smart move as the players he is then able to bring in for that money has been a huge eye-opener to him as the improvements he can now make. I'm also accepting bids for my players too, with Ouattara going for £4 million, and he isn't the only one as my wingers also had bids, meaning it's another £10 million in total for me. And with that, I decided to spend it on another striker who is a cracking player from South Africa and a focal point of my attack, as I'm looking to switch things up this season and go from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 with 3 strikers. Dad's still making changes and even bringing in a new goalkeeper that very recently has been released by my Queen of the South side as backup for him. And the new faces have struggled in the league for Dad, but have really helped him qualify for the Europa Conference League. I, on the other hand, had no qualifiers and just could solely focus on winning my first 3 league games. Right, Dad, talk to me, because you signed 10 new players off the back of selling your winger, of course, Segura, who you got on a free transfer.
I got him on a free transfer. 1 season later, I'm selling him for nearly 11 million. So, really good. Yeah, I mean, I thought I'm not going to waste the money on just 1 or 2 players. So I try to be very clever of what players I bought and, sort of how much I was spending on them.
Yeah, the most you spent was this man here to replace him.
That was to replace him. So 2.5 million. So give me 8 million, really. Yeah. So, so I spent most of it.
Brought my keeper in as well.
I had to. My keeper disappeared, so
he didn't kill him. He ran out of contract. We're just going to clarify that before we get ourselves to the show. He just disappeared.
Where the hell did he
go? He's the reason why we didn't finish 4th.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I've brought in players that might slightly improve my team, but also good squad players as well. So I'm filling the squad up with players that might not get in the team this year, but could get them in next year, or I could sell them on next year. Just exactly what you've done. Good prospect players, good sell them, especially if I've got them for free as well. So
I think you've learnt the lesson here.
Yeah.
£10 million you managed to accumulate.
But what I will say in my defence,
player.
Off my defence though, I haven't had many players of that value in my team up until the last couple of seasons.
No, but in my defence of attacking you, you were getting offers sometimes of like 500k, and you're going, I ain't accepting that.
But I couldn't buy a replacement for him. For 500k.
If you were getting 500k for a player, that say it's like a centre back, you could then find a centre back for a free transfer and have roughly 400k after the wages were taken out to then find whatever you else wanted.
Yeah,
that's what I started with, and that's what I was telling you the whole time. But I think this is a sign of obviously how you've made it play out. Free transfer into £10 million the following season.
Yeah,
but it hasn't started well. You're down in 11th place. So you look at that, you go, oh yeah, must have started well.
There's a lot of greens in there, but
it's
I'm doing well in Europe.
You qualified for Europe, fantastic. You beat Rosenborg, you beat Jerusalem there, great stuff.
Yeah.
You're also through the next round of the Cup, but you cannot win a Premiership game.
I'm struggling. I mean, 1-0 against Celtic, I'm quite happy with that result, really.
Yeah.
I'm quite close to them. So, but yeah, I'm struggling in the league.
Draw
really.
against Kilmarnock.
Yeah, that's...
and a loss to Falkirk.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't...
Falkirk, sorry, people keep saying.
In one way, I'm looking at it and thinking, I have started well because I'm doing well in Europe, but it's the league thing that is most important as well. So
yeah. So you're in the Europa Conference League. Nice little competition for you to be in, really. It's your first one. There's some teams in there that I definitely think you can take points out of, but also some tricky games too. Sparta Prague, Ghent, that ain't going to be easy ones.
No, definitely not. So it's fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll win my 3 home games there, and I could be within a chance then.
Yeah. I mean, it should be said you're playing the exact same tactic.
Yeah, I haven't changed it yet.
Haven't changed it.
Like I said, I've replaced the winger, didn't I?
Yeah.
So Gordon's in now, so just hopefully I had a good season last season, so I'm hoping it will change and have a finish up good.
Right, okay. Let's have a look at my Queen of the South side then. Bit of transfer activity, but I've left £11 million in the budget because I'm kind of just like, I don't really know what to spend it on at this point. I sold Constant Ouattara for £4.3 million. Still had some left in there anyway. So I brought in this man as a striker who I think can be quite good as sort of like a target forward type of player. Really good acceleration, pace, stamina, strength is not too bad, but he's 6'4", comes deep to get the ball. Composure's good. Off the ball isn't amazing. Teamwork's decent. Finishing and first touch is good. He's got 2 goals in 3 games already, South African, signed him for quite cheap. And I'm playing him on the right-hand side of a front three, where used to be down here was a defensive winger. I'm moving away from that now. In fact, I think that was kind of it, but with that one further up, what I was using beforehand. Locking in Rust as well, because last season he missed out, really.
Yeah.
He didn't get as many goals, so I want to lock him in. Now we're going through up front. Let's see what happens with this, and at the minute, it's been all right. We're top of the league. I did get knocked out of the cup by Hearts, but in the league games, the games that do matter,
Yeah.
right now, we are flying through.
Good start. You got
great
your hard
start.
game next game. That's where you really see where you're standing. Really, I think.
That's where it all go downhill. So I'm in the Europa League. I've managed to qualify for the Europa League, so I've got 2 extra fixtures than what Dad would have in the Conference League.
There's 3 hard teams. I can see 4.
So, yeah, Napoli's in there too, Sporting, Leverkusen, Athletic Bilbao. Some really Wolfsburg away at the end.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, knocked out in the league phase again by the looks of it. But all right, let's see how we do. Dad's first time in Europe. I think this might be like my 5th or 6th time, but hey, we'll see. Can I hold on to that top spot in the Scottish Prem now?
To do that, I will have to beat Celtic, but unfortunately, when they visited, they ran away with the 3 points. Johnson has been a good signing for me though, scoring the only 2 games against Dad in early September. And Dad's Alloa side, however, might not have been solely focused on the league because their games in Europe were thick and fast. But that didn't stop him from winning all 6 games in the league phase and only conceding 3 goals in total, topping the group. We might have joked about my Europa League fixtures being difficult, but I was shocking Europe as well, because there I was in the top 8 with wins over Leverkusen and Napoli and a 12-0 win over PAOK. Dad fell off in the Scottish Premier League, but my Queen of the South side still stood strong second in the title race. Alloa was too busy coming from behind in Europe and getting into the semi-finals of the Europa Conference to face Anderlecht, putting up a cheeky 1-0 aggregate lead in the first leg with a fantastic goal in Belgium. He wasn't the only one in a European semi-final though, as I had just smashed Brighton 7-1 in the quarters to go through to face Roma. And we were both doing Scotland proud as we took a 3-1 lead in Rome back to Dumfries, winning the second leg too rather comfortably, and we now have a Europa League final to play, of course against Eintracht Frankfurt. But guess who also qualified for a European final against a German Bundesliga team? That's right, Dad's Alloa Athletic. Now, both of our league forms did suffer, however, and Celtic ended up being too strong for me to catch, lifting the title, while Dad even failed to reach the top 6 again. Weirdly enough, though, my final against Eintracht Frankfurt was being played first, and unfortunately for me, although we were putting up a great performance, we found ourselves 2 goals down within 17 minutes. We did, however, manage to pull one back just before half-time through Rust, beating the goalkeeper to the ball, but we couldn't find another in the second half, and lost in the final of the Europa League 2-1. So it's up to my dad and his Alloa Athletic side to win a European trophy for Scotland. And in such a cagey game, extra time, and 118 minutes on the clock, Gutierrez found himself free and slotted in the only goal of the game. What a win! In the 118th minute, 2 minutes before he would have gone to the lottery that is penalty shootouts.
Well, I started off well in Europe and I finished well. Oh, take that.
Unbelievable win. Congratulations, you've won a big one there. European champions, Alloa Athletic.
There you go, Alloa. I've done it for you.
Yeah.
I'd happily retire now.
But he can't, because this is the race for the Prem.
Yeah.
And right now, he can't even finish in the top
I'm
half.
back down here again. Sorry, Alloa. But I think you'll take that.
I'm closer, but
Yeah?
I think the trouble is, I mean, I had a bit of a distraction as well.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Against Frankfurt as well.
I know.
What makes it worse.
All the bloody teams. Hassan Kaya as well. He got the most goals. You look at the quality of player that he is.
I mean, I've got to say it. You done well to get to the final. When we seen the teams that was in the group, you done well. So have a look to see how you got through that.
So 10th place, lost to Wolfsburg and Sporting, drew to Bilbao, beat Napoli 3-2.
Renz is in there. Did you? When have you beat them somewhere along the line?
I beat Leverkusen, but I beat PAOK 12-0. 12-0. When I seen the PAOK game, if I was looking, I thought, oh, it's at home. If it was where I'd have gone, oh, Greece is never easy to go to. That could be a difficult game.
Yeah.
12-0.
When you look at it as well, you finished 10th. Frankfurt finished 11th.
Yeah.
So look at the teams above you.
So we went into the knockout playoff rounds at that point. Knocked out Levski Sofia 9-1. Round of 16 knocking out Rennes. Get in! You absolute dirty little rats.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Quarter-final knocking out Brighton 7-1 there. And
result.
Semi-final Roma.
That was when I seen Roma at the top of that group. I thought, who beat them?
Yeah.
That's the result, I think.
Knocking out Roma. Now, Dad, on your side of things, let's have a look and celebrate your little victory here. Sorry, that's really undermining, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your massive victory over
for
European
Alloa,
Conference.
that's a massive injury.
The league phase, you topped it. 6 out of 6 wins. Phenomenal group stage as well.
7-1, 6-0,
I thought
5-0.
Sparta Prague's a difficult game,
5-0.
Yeah, 5-0. That's when I beat Newcastle. Same thing. Exactly the same. Then we've got into straight, of course, the round of 16, knocking out TSC. Into the quarterfinals, Sparta Rotterdam there, so good win against the Dutch side.
Only 2-1 on aggregate. So.
Semi-final knocking out Anderlecht, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Into Gladbach in the final, which I think you can both say that's the hardest team you've had to face.
Yeah.
And you beat them 1-0, so massive European victory. And what's it done for your finances? £10 million there, look. And you can see the spike, obviously, off the back of winning that. So hopefully some good stuff for you next season. And you can see that with the goals being scored as well.
Yeah.
Ian Gordon, what a signing that was for you.
Yeah.
Of course, replacing the winger that you sold.
$2.5 million, yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 million. Had a great season there. So your transfer budget for next season is lower, but I think you can kind of be like, all right, well, last season it was nothing.
Yeah.
This season, they've at least given you $1 million.
Well, the way I'm looking at it now, and I know I shouldn't be, I've got 1, 2, 3 players that's over 10 million.
Yeah.
I mean, Gordon there, bought it for 2.5. What's he now? 14.5.
Yeah.
So I could do it again.
I think you could sell a striker, or even this guy, look, he's barely played. He comes off the bench.
Yeah.
Selling that guy could be huge for you.
Yeah,
because
9 million. Man, you struggled to spend the money that you had, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I did struggle to spend some of the
you
money.
You bought him last season for 600k.
Because certain players don't want to come to you, do they?
No.
And Alloa was, unfortunately, we're in the lower part of the league, so we're not sort of like the team everybody wants to play for.
But you're also in Europa League.
Yes. So I've got a bit of pull. But yeah, I've got to look at it. And the player, there's a couple of players below him, 8 million, 7 million, 6 million. So there's a few players I could just
you
look
could
at.
cash
really.
in on a couple, and then you could rebuild basically a full squad.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping to do the same. I mean, I've got £13 million, but getting to the final of Europa League, you gain quite a lot of money from that, and we can see that from the finances again. 3 million, maybe not. Don't know what that's about. Maybe we're waiting for it. We're waiting for it to come through. But squad-wise, let's have a look. So goals, Sifiso Johnson got 34. Fabiano Ross, that's why I locked him in.
Yep.
28 and 26. Solid.
Yeah.
Kieran Offord got 27. Do you know what? I don't really give him enough praise, but I bought him a long time ago for £2.4 million. He's had some cracking seasons for me.
Yeah.
Might be time to cash in. Who knows? But Hernan Rocha as well had a good season, who I brought in recently for a free transfer. So it's signings like that really change things. So £13 million as we go into season 14, something like that, 13 and 14.
Yeah.
Could be enough to get us ever so closer to pinching the title, because right now Celtic are back on top after Rangers is one season there, but I'm sniffing right behind them. Just 5 points there.
Close.
Yeah. Can we do it next season, do you think? I don't know. The money's there. We just need to make the right signings. Either way, it's a fantastic season for Dad, a European trophy as we continue the race to the Scottish Prem.